a good bit on ministry.
Yes.
But let's talk about some about the Stellar Awards. Let's get into the whole just with the Stellar Awards. So give us a little bit of background about the Stellars.
Okay, the Stellar Awards was a vision of a man out of Chicago, Mr. John Jackson, and he started the Stellar Awards, and he was already in production. There's a production company called Central City. Central City, if you Google them, they do a lot, not just the Stellar Awards. They do a huge parade in the Chicago area. They do a whole lot of other media-related things. One of the things that they do that's booming now is Black Music Honors, where they honor music in all genres, and that has catapulted. It's almost getting as busy as the Stellars, but Black Music Honors is only like 3 years old, and I'm happy to be a part of that production team. They work with the Trumpet Awards. They do so much, but the Stellar Awards is to honor the achievements and excellence in gospel music. Mr. Don realized that we did not have anything doing that, and he actually started it out as something small. You hear me? He just kept going at it, and if you Google some of their YouTube some of their earlier performances and stuff, and you'll be amazed at how the Stellars just bloomed and blossomed into a major award show. But from that, they have a camaraderie of artists, and it's an organization called SAGMA, and those artists are independent artists, people who love it, people who are interested in the industry. You join that, and you're able to have some hands-on information come to you via email, and you can also vote on those people who are on the nominee list, or because there are two different levels of nomination. You first go through the first round, and then those that are superseded and to go on over to the next round, then you end up with those that are on the major list for the Stellar Awards. But all that takes place through voting, and everybody have a hand in it, but you got to be a part of SAGMA, which is their voting council or their input council.
So is it more about SAGMA or record sales that cause gospel artists to be nominated?
It's a marriage between the two, but I've seen some gospel artists that did not have adequate record sales, but they made it to the main nomination. And now Stellar Awards is embracing the independent artists. They're doing so many things for independent artists.
TIMA in Session is sponsored in part by The Branding Spot. Don't just make an impression, leave your mark.
And now Stellar Awards is embracing the independent artists. They're doing so many things for independent artists. I encourage people, Stellar Awards is more than just one award show. You need to go up at least 2 or 3 days ahead of time. If you're going to be a part of the Stellars, go up and take part in some of the things that are happening around the Stellars. Everything in gospel music is like anything else. It's based on relationship. You get to know who these key people are. No point. Ask somebody, who's this person? Who's that person? Get to know that person. And then next year, remember those people. Go up to them, call them by their name. You got to build a relationship, because you got to remember this is a competitive industry, whether it's R&B or whether it's gospel. Music is forever evolving, and you'll always have somebody that's a little more hungrier than you, but you got to go after with all you have. So that's the best answer I can tell you with that. I think it's a collaboration between a little bit with record sales, because that's going to get you attention too, and then being connected with the right people, people who are in SAGMA, or people who knows. Everybody knows somebody who knows somebody that can help somebody. All right.
So even with the nominations, and you said that the Stellars are doing more now with the indie artists. So what benefits come with that? How does that benefit the indie artists to have that relationship with
First of all, if you're involved in it, your knowledge increases. So where you are now, you won't be in that same place next year. You hear me? Knowledge is a tier. The more you know, the more you go. Or they said the more you grow, and that's what it is. So you get in there and you get involved. Don't just go and sit to the show. Get in there. They have so many things going on around it, and now Stellars have incorporated a educational component where they have workshops for people who are in the industry, and it's a panel of people who come up and just talk, and they do it on 2 days before the Stellar Awards or the day before. And they just get up and they talk about industry. They talk about forever changing laws that comes to music. Talk about publishing, and that's another thing that a lot of independent artists are not taking part in. They're doing copyright, but they're not doing publishing. And you need to get into publishing. You need to go into these major companies that do publishing, such as BMI and ASCAP, and I believe there's another company. It slips my mind, but all those companies are really good. The publishing helps you get a check. It makes it all worth it, and it protects you as an artist. Publishing is related to governmental regulations and guidelines, so it will help you. So don't just be an artist and say, oh, my stuff is copywritten, you got to get it published. And then when you come to Stellars and you meet other artists, you meet other people, they will tell you certain things that you need to know along with your copyright and your publishing that will bring in revenue to you, because there's so much power now with the independent artists.
So do the Stellars have workshops like that for the artists to let them know about publishing and about, copyright and, all of that stuff? Are there people from BMI and ASCAP that are part of the Stellars that can help indie artists understand more and do more as it relates to publishing?
Recently, they've incorporated that level of information, and because I'm working in production, I don't get to be a part of that. I'm so busy preparing for the pre-show and then the main show, but they've incorporated an entity, a panel of experts that can help artists and help people who are in that room to advance. If you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers. So like I say, again, it's all about you coming and what your expectations is. If you're coming just to enjoy the show, that's what you're going to get. But if you're coming as an independent artist, not only to enjoy the show, but to be informed, to get some information, you got to get out there. You got to get in the know. You got to just start asking people, and it works. How I got introduced to the Stellars was crazy. I had people or friends who worked in the industry, and they said, we want you to work too. And I was nervous and saying, I don't want to do it. But I stumbled into the wrong room. But it was the wrong room at the right time. And they gave me a label of being a captain, taking care of the seat fillers. I didn't know what I was doing, but from now on, I just said, okay, I'll do it. And my best friend was with me, and he was like, you gonna do this, because he's done it before, and I was clueless. But from there on, here it is, about 15 years, I'm still working in that position, and guess what? I get a check. And and it works for me, but being in the, how can I say it? Being in the wrong place with the right motive can give you the right outcome.
A Minute and a Moment, a prayer journal by Elder Dwight Follins, available now at dwightfollins.com.
And it works for me, but being in the, how can I say it? Being in the wrong place with the right motive can give you the right outcome, because that's what happened to me. And then I realized that it's about relationship. It's about going up to those key people. I would do that every year and shaking their hands and remembering details about them. How's the dog? How's the cat? As your son graduated from college, they remember that. And when you remember that, you develop relationship. So when you have a project to present, or when you have something major that you want to bounce off of them, they will welcome you, and then they will impart some necessary information. You need to know who those industry artists people are. And there are some major artists that don't mind pouring into independent artists, but they need to know you're serious.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's good. That's good. They need to know you're serious. With the whole Stellar Awards and working the Doves and the Trumpet Awards and all of that, have you seen any independent artists become mainstream artists?
Right about now, I can say this: it's easier for an independent artist to come into the mainstream. I'm not good with remembering names, but there was a young lady who was on the internet. I think her name is Bree or something like that.
Babineau.
Yeah, thank you. She is excellent. She's a living example of how the internet and those other outlets can catapult you into a whole nother area. There's several other people. Believe it or not, Jonathan McReynolds, he was an independent artist who was doing some things locally and on social media, and then the right persons, and next thing you know, certain things evolved. I believe Travis Green. So there's so many independent artists. You just got to work it, and you got to get in there and ride that wave. There's a young lady now. She is awesome. I'm so horrible with names, but you know her song. They're playing her song everywhere. It's called Lord, You've Been So Good. And this young lady is singing out of her soul. But I'm just saying, you got to work and this is another thing that independent artists got to understand. You must work your local logistics. You must work your local areas. You want to be major, but nobody in your city, nobody in your area knows you. You hear me? A lot of independent artists have a lot of power, but you have more power when you have major distribution. But distribution is not going to invest in you if you can't move a product, or if you don't show sales results, or show that you can chart sales. And how can you do that? First, become a great success in your local area. Sing at the Pretty Hat Tea, sing at Miss Mabel's 50th anniversary, and sell your product, chart your sales. And once you do that, a distribution will look at you, and they will look and they will say, what have you moved? And you can tell them, I've moved so many units by myself. Then they'll pour into you. They'll see you being worth the investment. But a lot of independent artists are lazy, and they don't have local logistics. That's a phrase that I've coined. So if you take it, I'm gonna come after you. But it's what is local logistics? They're not working their area. They got to work their area. Everybody, you should be in the grocery store and people walk up to you and say, I got your song. I saw you at our church. How you doing? You must do that. And then that helps you, because when you get to a certain platform, they will be, let me show you an example of that. Fantasia, she was a local singer around. Everybody knew her family. So when she made it into a whole nother platform, the whole community stopped what they're doing to not only support her, but to send their energies to her. And that's why, she catapulted and became, and it's the same way wherever you go. When you have your local people loving on you and sending their energies toward you, that's their way of lifting you to where you need to go. Work your local areas. Your local logistics is so important. And then you want to be a national wonder, but you are a local blunder. It's not going to work like that. Love on them, be nice to them, sing when you don't have to, sit there, as they say in politics, shake hands and kiss babies. Make them love you. All right.
So outside of the local logistics, let's talk a little bit about moving a little bit further out. So what can indie artists do to, even in getting support from the local logistics? What can they do to kind of branch out more? As an independent artist, a lot of people think independent means you're by yourself. Mm-hmm. So in order to kind of garner more or get more territory, what do you suggest that they do? And can you give a little bit on maybe how they can do it?
Especially now, it's the best way to use this strategy. And you know what that is? In-home live. In-home lives are booming now. Recently, we just had the launching and the viewing of the Clark Sisters movie. That movie broke records, 2.7 million viewers. It's because of what we're going through now, and a lot of people are stationary. Maximize. If you're an independent artist and you're watching this now while we've got all this stuff going home, stay home orders, you need to be on giving your best, because now everybody's audience is broad. Everybody has a broad audience. If you're connected to social media, it's no excuse for you to be lazy. You hear me? Your presentation, you get together with some friends, get in a good location, a good place. There are so many cities now that have sound studios. Get there and you give your best live, give your best, put your energies. And you notice all these artists, I think Babyface and the other guy who was with him, Teddy Riley, they broke the internet. It was so many viewers that it couldn't even support, so they stopped. So we got to maximize social media maximize this. And this is my heartfelt thing to independent artists, even those people who are preachers in ministry. Ain't no more big churches, y'all. Everybody preaching to the same people. The internet is now your church. So you got to have something to say. If you're an artist, you got to have something to sing. If you're a musician, you got to have something to play that's going to catch the ears of people so they will want to sit for 10 to 20 minutes. Now listen, the average attention span, I learned this as an educator, is 30 minutes. You hear me? Now on radio and stuff, all you got is 4 minutes. That's grace. Really 3.5, but have something to say in the less amount of time. So when you come back on, they want to hear more of you. Yeah, they want to hear, oh, he on. He blew me out the water for 20 minutes yesterday. So do that. You got to create a longing. So I would say let your platform and social media be something. Create something. Even if you're in your local area and there's not much going on, get with a local community center and have a shed on Friday nights or Saturday nights for independent singers and independent artists. Open up your own music cafe, especially in rural areas that don't have outlets. Every Friday, you don't even have to do it every Friday, first and third Friday. It's the music lab, and you all just come and just do some, and then film it, record it. You hear me? So you have to be creative. It's the hungry lion that gets fed. So you have to find ways to go out and get what you need.
So before we wrap up, I want you to give advice to your younger self as it relates to ministry, whether it's music ministry or your preacher ministry. If you had to give your younger self some advice, what would that advice be?
My younger self would be discipline. Practice discipline, because Denzel Washington said something that hit me in my heart that I wish I would have gotten when I was younger. If you do what you gotta do now, you could do what you wanna do later. So I would say practice disciplines, practice a pattern, practice a monotony of better thinking, better living, master your craft, you hear me? And those disciplines go a long way, not just in skill, but in finances. And most of all, in love, become so disciplined in your emotions, become disciplined in every area of your life, because discipline brings out a desired outcome. It does bring a desired end. And if I see anything going wrong, not just with my mistakes in the past, but with young people I see now, they lack the patience of discipline. And we must learn how to become disciplined in every area of our life, because it will pay off in the end. And I'll leave that with you again, what Denzel Washington said to a lot of his mentees when he was lecturing. Do what you gotta do now so you could do what you want to do later.
Purchase the new album, Altar Call by Ryan Rutley, now available on all digital outlets. Thank you for taking the time out to view our segment for today. And we'd also like to thank our very special guest, Elder Dwight Follins, for being with us for this segment of TIMA in Session. My name is Teresa Tyree. I'm your host, and we'll see you next time.